2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Purple Coach Conversation with Anne and myself, Tanya. Our role is to normalize, educate conversations around diversity and inclusion. We're very lucky today to have Aunt Bryan with us. So Aunt Bryan is a stroke survivor, motivational speaker, power athlete, and fitness coach. And we'd love to hear more about you, Aunt, with your own words, and explain to us, why you're here today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. So my name's Aunt Bryan. I'm a stroke survivor. I'm a power athlete, a motivational speaker, and a fitness coach. So I had my stroke at the age of just 6 years old, and this was caused from a brain tumor. So I was a very active, healthy child, always running around, always very active, always playing football. And then I started getting really bad headaches. And I used to curl up in the ball and just hold my head. It was like someone screaming inside my head. And so my parents put me to the doctors, and doctors just said, "Oh, it's migraines. You'll be okay. Take some paracetamol." But these headaches got worse, and then my parents put me to a private hospital to get checked. After having a brain scan, they found I had a brain tumor the size of a tennis ball, and what they found was this brain tumor was shutting down my vital organs. So they had to operate on to remove it immediately, as quick as possible. So because it was shutting down my body. But when they removed the tumor, I actually suffered a stroke. So I lost the use of my left side. So I'd gone from being very active, very sporty, to then being bed-bound and wheelchair-bound. Had to relearn how to live life with one hand, had to relearn how to walk again, kind of really turned my world upside down. And doctors said to me, "You probably won't walk or be very active ever again." This destroyed my confidence. I was very self-conscious, very hate showing off my disability. Went back to school after about a year. Was always the shyest one. But fast forward 20 years, I actually ended up representing England at the Cerebral Palsy World Championships, where I ran the 800 meters and the 1500 meters. And I won gold medal in both the 800 meters and the 1500 meters after being told I'd probably never be very active again.
Amazing.
This kind of made me realize that we are all told by others what we can and can't do. But at the end of the day, what we want to achieve is down to us. We have no idea what all of us are capable of until we push ourselves to see what we can do. And that kind of really opened up my eyes. I thought to myself, if I thought I could never run, and I ran 800 meters and 1500s faster than most able-bodied people, what more am I capable of? So I started looking around for more challenges. I started going to the gym. I started doing one-arm pull-ups, sit-ups, all these different exercises. And people just watch me going, "Whoa, how are you doing that?" So my goal now is to inspire and motivate others to be the best they can be as well.
Wow.
Wow. Yes. I think that's absolutely fascinating. And just listening to that story and having a stroke happen at such a young age, and you talked about how it affected your confidence, trying to hide that disability. I think in the society that we live in, I think we still have a long way to go when it comes to fully accepting people that are not, quote unquote, looking like us or functioning like us, whatever that looks like, right? And that's why we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion. Just tell me, as a 6-year-old going through that, I mean, even the recovery period must have been very mentally taxing. How did you deal with that? Or like thinking about the parents listening who have also children who are going through certain disabilities and certain challenges, whether it's mental or physical disabilities, how you can encourage them as well to give their children that strength that I think perhaps your parents also must have been kind of enforced in you in obviously a positive way for you to be able to where you are today, which is amazing.
So after all this happened to me, I became very depressed, very down. I actually didn't want to live anymore. I I remember at school thinking to myself, why have I survived this? I wish I'd never survived and come back. I hated doing physio. I had to do physio every single day, and I hated it. All I wanted to do was go and be a normal child and play games and play football with my brothers. And I remember the physio used to come around to the house, and I'd have to sit in the front room doing my exercises, physio with them. And my brothers were playing outside, playing football. And I just got so angry within myself. It's like, why am I doing this? I want to be out there. But my parents are the ones that got me to do it over and over again. They really encouraged me. And I've recently been working with the physios and occupational therapists, and they were saying to me, how can we make physio more inclusive and something that kids want to do? And one thing I said to them was, well, I hated being separated. So what would encourage me to do it more was, this actually happened. There was a male physio that I had after a few years. And he was like, bring the family in, bring the brothers in, and we're going to play games together. But we're going to throw a ball around, but your brothers have to use one arm like you. So I thought this was really cool. And they saw it as a challenge as well. So we actually did a physio game, but all together. And that encouraged me to want to do it more. So I'd say to encourage more people to do their exercises, to do their physio, instead of being isolated and separated and seen as doing something different, encourage everyone to do it together and create it as a game or something fun as everyone to do. So then you're not being isolated.
I love that. And it also makes, like, it makes you, as you're saying, feel included in the task. And it also makes, like your brothers, for example, who were made to do the same task with one hand.
So they get to see life from my eyes.
It's such an eye opener for them. It's like, this is what he has to go through to achieve what we take for granted, for example, or what we don't even recognize how hard it is. And I think that also creates understanding, especially if amongst children, even if it's not part of the family, and you have that kind of scenario with occupational therapist being able to implement that in certain centers or in schools and so on. So encouraging for the child and for the other children to understand and be more empathic. I think it's life lessons that we should be teaching our children when it comes to empathy and inclusion as well.
This is so true, and so true, especially when you think about it. The physio played a massive leadership role here. You know, like he decided that, you know, like I'm gonna try and make sure that everybody understands the situation, because you understood also why they wanted to play outside, because you used to play outside as well. So all this anger and frustration, right? So that's already something that you had in your brain, but they didn't know, because you know, it's very easy to remain selfish as a child or to remain ignorant as a child, and that's where we need, and that's a bit the reason why Anne and I also decided to continue this podcast, because we were sharing our experiences. You know, my kids, even though my husband from Pakistan, you know, they look white, so I wanted them to understand, and I had a conversation again last week with my son Noah about Black kids, because he said something that I didn't like, and I again, you know, told him, you know, this is not this is not something you can say and stuff like that. And we have to make sure that they know repeatedly, and it's not about keeping things hushed, because people are not looking like the majority or are not doing the same thing as the majority is doing, and it's okay to talk about it and to say what's okay and not okay to say. So like Anne was saying, this showing of understanding and making sure he has this, that the others have had the moment of empathy, and the fact that you were understood, I'm sure that must have helped you were talking about hating going there, etc. That must have changed your relationship with the whole therapy and everything. Or
yeah, so to make it more inclusive, fun game, made me want to do it, because then I'm not seen as different. Everyone is included all together.
What was your journey like when so you've gotten into adulthood, and you know, you mentioned you've achieved amazing things, winning gold medals, racing, and you know, as you said, even being faster as well. How did you I'm just trying to think of how did you get to that point from a mental state? Because I think a lot of these things start from not just the physical state of how you win competitions, but there's a lot of mental work around it, right? A lot of mindset work around it. So how did you gain that strong mindset? First of all, to do the training, to turn up very disciplined, put in the work, which, you know, even if you're completely able, it still requires so much work. And then I'm imagine you're working 3, 4, 5 times harder to achieve that. What kind of mindset did you have to have?
So I was sporty before my disability, but being sporty, because I remember being in a wheelchair, and I remember eating it, and I remember sitting down and all that. I remember being in a hospital bed, and my doctor said to me, "What's one thing you'd love to achieve? What would you love to be able to do?" And I was only 6 years old, so my answer was, "I want to go and skid across the floor on my knees." And he started laughing. He goes, "Okay, well, maybe we'll aim for a smaller goal." But I just wanted to go and do it. And I remember the first time I got home, I loved football. So I walked outside into the garden, and I got the football, and I went to kick it. And straight away I fell over, and then I got back up and I tried again, and straight I fell over, and it really got me upset because I couldn't play anymore. I only really got into running by accident because I was playing football. One of the coaches said to me, "You're really quick. Have you ever heard of the Paralympics? You'd be great at that." And my answer was, "No, what's the Paralympics? Never heard of that before." In like the 2000s, you never heard of the Paralympics. And he said, "It's like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities. You'd be so good at that." And my answer straight away was, "No, I definitely don't want to do that. Why do I want to do a sport that shows off my disability?" I was hiding my disability. I was used to wear long sleeve tops. Even if it's hot and sunny outside, I'd wear a big coat just so it hides my arm, hides my disability. But the first time I ever did a competition, my parents pushed me into kind of giving it a go. I went to a disability national championships, and for the first time, I saw all these athletes with disabilities going out there to do the absolute best they could do. No one was looking at each other funny. Everyone was encouraging each other. I thought, this is amazing. I actually ended up winning 2 gold medals there in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. And this made me feel so good about myself. I was very shy, self-conscious, always trying to hide away. And this competition made me feel so good about myself. I was like, wow, I actually can do something, and I can do something well. And this gave me this buzz. And I just kind of wanted more of that buzz. So I joined an athletics club. I did more training. I started getting fitter, started getting stronger, started winning more competitions. And I was just kind of following this adrenaline buzz. I was getting a high from doing well. And then people started complimenting me, going, "Wow, how are you doing that? That's incredible," which made me feel even better about myself. And it's kind of just winning competitions, doing competitions, learning that I am more capable than I ever thought. And then get to the world games, the world championships, to win 2 golds and be a world champion. That was the biggest confidence booster ever for me, really.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think just a really quick one on that one. What I'm hearing a lot you say is putting yourself out there, self-acceptance, you know, kind of coming to the terms that I accept my arm as it is. I'm going to stop hiding my disability, and then daring to put yourself out there. And because of the work that you put in, the self-efficacy came to fulfillment. And then it was like a rolling ball that continued to grow your confidence and grow the mindset into higher and higher levels. That's fascinating, Ant.
Well,
Yeah.
in sport was the one place where I didn't care how I looked at my disability. So I'd go and train really hard, run loads, and I wouldn't care about how my disability looked. But outside of sport, even to recent times, my self-confidence and self-shyness is still there. So in the social setting, I'd be the shy one. But in the sports side of things, that's where my confidence comes out. So it's something I'm working on still. But
Yeah, definitely. And we were going to talk about that and your fantastic social media and YouTube videos that you're doing I think that's so inspiring for people to learn how you can function and how you live and things that you can do with one arm. And things as remind me one of the tips that you were sharing last time. How to open a jar with one?
How I open a jar with one hand.
Yes.
How I do buttons with one hand and
Yeah.
shoelaces and things like that.
Yeah, that's so brave to show that side as well. I mean, like you're saying, this is I mean, you've started with where you felt, of course, it was a journey. It's not like this. I'm sure it goes up and down all the time, but that's the path to success, and we know that's what it looks like. So with sport, but you were saying how you're even faster than people that don't have a disability, and you kind of you have this resilience inside of you. You're a fighter. This is something that, this is you, and clearly it's showing now in the things that are maybe harder, to get to grip to the social side of things, etc., and the social media. So tell us about your project.
So I started. Well, I went to a motivational talk a few years ago, and I was listening to the guy talk, and he said, to be a motivational speaker, all you need is an interesting story. And I thought to myself, I've got a super interesting life story, how I've gone through this, and this, and I've achieved this. So I thought I'd love to tell my story. So I actually, in lockdown, I made a YouTube channel, did a video telling my story, and it had an incredible response from people saying how amazing it was. Even people I'd known for years really well were like, I didn't even know this about you, because I never ever spoke about what I'd been through, never spoke about what happened to me. And they were like, wow, this is incredible. And I thought no one would find this interesting. So what I realized was I need to tell more about me, because people are interested in me and what I've been through. And fast forward, I think it's a year or so now, I've been doing my YouTube stuff. I have a friend that said to me, you need to show how you live life with your disability. And my reaction was, no, I can't. I never show my disability. I just show how I run, how I lift weights, how I do this, how I do that. But he said, yeah, but you're so superhuman and strong that people can't relate with what you're doing. If you show your more vulnerable side of how you struggle with this, how you struggle with that, people will start to relate with you more. And I was like, I can't show off my disability. I felt so anxious, and I didn't want to show it. I thought everyone would laugh at it. So he said, show how you do stuff with one hand. Show how would you butter toast? How would you get dressed with one arm? How would you do pull up with one arm? I was like, well, that's just simple. I just do this, and this. And he goes, yeah, but that's super interesting. Show that. So really didn't want to. I made a few videos, and I went to post it, and I was sitting there for a good half an hour. It's like I don't want to post it. But I thought, go on. I just pushed the button, and it uploaded, and it's straight in my head. I'm thinking, oh, why did I do that? But after a few minutes, it started getting ping, like, comment, like. Loads of people really loved it. The more I posted, the more people enjoyed it. Sometimes my videos hit 8,000 hits and 10,000 hits. And I was like, oh my God, people really are interested in this. And the more videos I posted, actually, the better I felt about myself. I post a video every single morning, and I'm not worried about how it looks. I just post it. And I have comments from parents saying, thank you so much for sharing this. My child has the same disability as you. They can only use one arm. And we sit together and watch your videos, and we give your videos a try. And you really inspire them. I was like, wow, this is incredible. From getting over my own kind of insecurities has showing my own vulnerable side has helped inspire others.
It's fascinating. It's really fascinating as well how that just your tenacity has continued to help you show up higher, show up more authentic, show up more like, unapologetic about your disability, but rather than kind of hiding in the background. You work as a personal trainer and coach. And I know you shared as well about the challenge it took for you to actually get hired. I love this story because, again, it goes back to tenacity and how I think sometimes in life we're too fast to quit on what we want, or too fast to give up. Or, we try once and it's like, okay, it's not for me. Or we even just start off with a mindset like, no, it's never going to happen. And we give up on ourselves before we even give a chance to ourselves to try. Being a personal trainer is no easy task. We know that you've got to put in the hours in the gym and the grind that it takes to get there, and then you've got to be employed. So for you, as only being able to use one arm, and with your disability, tell us what your journey was like to get there.
It was a really tough one, because the disabilities in the fitness industry is something that's never ever seen, or very, very little. But when I wanted to get a job, I thought to myself, what do I enjoy? I thought, I enjoy fitness, strength training, going to the gym. So I thought, I'll do my personal trainer course and it'll be good. So I did my personal trainer course. I passed all my exams, and the teachers were like, wow, you're incredible. You inspire us as teachers. You're going to go on to do great things. You can really help and inspire people because you can do it. You can inspire others to do it. But every job interview I went to, they all said the same thing. They all said, you haven't got the image we're looking for. You're not what we're looking for. I went over to about 30 to 40 job interviews, and they all said the same thing. And one guy even said to me, look, I'm going to be straight with you. You can't lift weights with two hands. How do you expect to teach others? And I said, well, I would do it myself. And I'll talk others into do it. I say, you do it with two hands, I'll do it with the one. And he goes, I don't believe it can be done like that. So I ended up volunteering in a gym, and they trained me up to work in the gym, teach others, train others. And they said, have you ever thought about teaching exercise classes? I was like, oh, standing in front of people, a group of people, and telling them how to train when not even one or two people will listen to me. Goes, give it a go. So I gave it a go. I did all my courses in my circuit training, HIIT, ab workouts, and I started a class and had a few people were a bit wary about it, but they took part and they said that was an amazing, incredible class. Eventually, my class was growing to go bigger and bigger and bigger. My class ended up being the biggest ab workout class of the week, but still, no one would hire me as in a gym. So I actually thought, I'll just give up on this. And I just got a job in a supermarket, did that for about a year. And then I got a job on reception at a leisure centre. And I got talking to one of the managers there. And I said, I run for England. I do this, I do that. I'm always training in the gym. And he literally said to me, why are you not in the gym working here? Because no one's giving me the chance. So he goes, I'm going to get you in the gym. And he is true to his word. He got me in there, and it was great. And there was one moment where I was at a new gym, and I said to him, I can teach exercise classes. And he goes, okay, there's one of the teachers is sick today. Can you cover this class? Now it's a fully booked, popular class. And I went in, and it was 30 to 40. It was a women's HIIT class. And I walked in and I was like, okay, so my name's Anne, and we're going to be doing this, this, and this today. And they all looked at me quite strange. They were like, what? You're teaching? I was like, yeah. I've got experience in this, this, and this. And straight away, they said, there was a group of women. They all started talking to themselves. And what they were saying was, no, I'm not doing this class. No, I'm not. I actually want to do a workout today. And so I just kind of waited for them to talk and sort themselves out. And then I looked up, and 20 of the women had just walked out and left. But I could have got really down and depressed about that. But I looked up and I saw 10 people had stayed. So I thought to myself, I'm going to give these 10 people the best class they've ever had, because they stayed and they believed in me. So I went extra hard. I was like, go. Pushed them, gave them extra exercises, made them work really hard till they're red in the face. And they just went to me, wow, that was an incredible class. I actually prefer your class to the actual teacher that normally does this class. And so I was a cover for the next few weeks. And eventually word was starting to spread around the gym how good my class was. And it started getting busier and busier and busier. And now my class is so popular that people are complaining that they can't book onto it.
Yes.
Wow.
Love that.
Amazing.
I want to join as well. I mean,
Right?
it doesn't take a long time to, or to like you, and it doesn't take a long time to trust you with all the experiences and things that you've said. Like, it's, I guess the ones that have left are more like the ignorance and beginners of the gym. They don't really understand what it means to be an athlete. You can lift a weight that they can't even lift with two hands. Like, this is like, you can do the job better than them with just one hand. That's an athlete. That's somebody who pushes limits, who's able to. This is an athlete. So it's their loss. Some of them, I'm sure, might have come back and then regretted it and learned from it. It was like a learning lesson. But you've taught us, this was like an example of how life is. We put ourselves out there. Some people like us, some people don't. And sometimes it takes a bit of kind of time, and then they come back and they acknowledge, and you grow together. So thanks for sharing that amazing story. I wanted to say before we close, and I will leave Anne the beautiful task of closing. I wanted to thank the person who's introduced us, Victor. I wanted to shout out and say hello to him and tell him that, because every time I ask him, how are you? He says, do you really care about how I am? And I say, yes, I do. So I want to tell him, recorded, I always care about how you are. That's what I wanted to say as a little brackets. But yes, I will let Anne finish off with the final questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne, for this. I think it's been so inspirational. As a mother with a child with disabilities, he's autistic and global developmental delay. I find it really fascinating to hear other people's such experiences and be able to share that as well with my own son. Just a reminder, like, you can do absolutely anything that you set your mind to do. And that's, I think, why I kept going back to the mindset stuff so much, because I think it really does start with that, the mindset you have and how it's, created with a combination of, your own willpower, but also the people around you. So you talked about your parents, you had the trainers. So I just wanted to highlight that for people out there who are listening, that, the influence that you have on those around you matters. The impact, the mindset that you help your children or other people, giving them a chance, believing in them, it matters. It makes a difference. So thank you so much, Anne, for sharing that story. Really, really appreciate you being on the podcast as well. Before we let you go, I think you've got a lot of fascinating work that you're doing with your YouTube channels and your other social media channels. Share your tags with the listeners, for those who, I'm sure you're going to get quite a lot of people following you, even not just because of your disability, but I think the inspirational story that you share, I think it's touching for anyone who is a parent, or even is just interested in their own personal development as well. So please share with us your social media tags, and I will keep quiet for a while.
Thank you. So my social media is, so I have a YouTube channel where I post every single day on how I live life with disability, or how I do my running and training. And that is called Ant Bryan Fitness. So it's my name, Ant Bryan Fitness. I have an Instagram page, which is Ant Bryan Fitness as well, or I have a TikTok, which is Ant Bryan Fitness. What I've been doing recently is I've been doing talks in schools, so I can inspire kids to be the absolute best they can be, and so I was a very shy, self-conscious child at school. So my aim is to inspire the younger child that I once was to be the best that they could be.
I absolutely love that. And anyone connected to schools, listen up to that as well.
Or if you want me to come in to do a talk, then just message me, let me know. I can do schools, colleges, universities, organizations. Let me know, and I'll kind of spread the inspiration, motivation.
Brilliant. And we're going to put your social media tags on the show notes as well. So anyone listening, you can just check that out as well. Connect with him, follow his amazing work and his inspirational inspirational journey so far, and continuing as well. I also want to thank you again, and I want to thank all our listeners for listening in, for tuning in. Really appreciate you. We ask as well that if you feel that you have an interesting story that you'd like to share around diversity and inclusion, would love to hear from you as well. Do get in touch with myself or with Tanya through our social media handles or through our website. And do share the episodes if you enjoy them. Sharing is caring, and I think it also can definitely change other people's lives as well. So if you feel impacted, please do share it with others as well. Thank you from myself and Tanya, and appreciate you all following us and listening to us. Take care for now. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.